Right, here we go. Weapons of mass disruption. Right. I'm going to start with an uncomfortable truth. Sounds difficult for somebody who makes a living from it, doesn't it? But it's true. And when you accept this, you instantaneously become better at advertising. Because the truth is, ordinary people could not give a shit about it. Right? That's a fact. Not really. The only people that actually care about advertising are the people who make it, like me. People who sell it, like lots of people in this room. People who pay for it, again, more people in this room. And lots of cosy little ecosystems of award juries who dish out awards among their pals, like they're swapping panini sticker books like they did when they were children. And that's not to denigrate what's going on here. It's just about removing cynicism and bringing some realism to it. Because everyone else, outside people who operate within the industry, avoid advertising. Or at best, they tolerate it. In the same way they tolerate roadworks, hemorrhoids, and you and Cameron. Now, I appreciate I've got a slightly unusual perspective on this, right? Half my life is spent as a creative director in advertising, the other half as a musician, recording, touring, writing. So I work and earn a living between two very, very different worlds. When someone buys a record or a ticket for a show, they've chosen and paid for the privilege to listen. When someone hears a radio advert, they have not. Some of you might be aware that Sir John Hegarty once called advertising the uninvited guest at the party. Now, I don't know if Sir John Hegarty ever gate-crashed a party in Scotland, but if you do, you better be pretty fucking charming, funny, charismatic and entertaining if you don't want to leave head first through a closed door. So, if advertising is indeed the uninvited guest at the party, radio advertising is probably the purest version of that interruption. You're not popping up on a screen. You're inside someone's head, in their car, in their kitchen, on headphones while they walk the dog. They've woken up tired, skint, hungover. They're trying to get the kids out to school. Which means radio advertising has two choices. It can earn their attention, or it can steal their time. And my problem is that right now, as an industry, far too many radio campaigns are stealing their time. We have built the most sophisticated commercial radio and digital delivery systems in history. Look at what you've just watched through. We obsess over digital platforms, local rivalries, radars, CPTs, DAB, streaming, podcasts, smart speakers. We hold conferences like this about distribution and delivery systems, all the while ignoring one irrefutable truth. Until you prioritise, value, and fight for brilliant radio advertising creative, you're building Formula One engines to deliver junk mail. Because the biggest barrier to effectiveness in radio advertising is not budget, it's boring the crap out the listeners. So, if boredom is the enemy, here are 10 weapons of mass disruption, as I call them, that I've gathered over 25 years in creative industries to help fight it. The first, blow shit up. You can be cautious or you can be creative, but you cannot be both. It's an oxymoron to try it. If you've got a great idea, you need to push it to the edge of the cliff. Don't push it over the cliff. That's just stupid and reckless. But you must be prepared to take the risk. Playing it safe means doing what everyone expects. And what happens when everyone expects it? Everyone ignores it. If rejection scares you, you've already lost. So I encourage you, subvert the category norms in which you operate and kill the cliche by throwing a hand grenade in and create something exciting for the carnage. Number 2, clarity's clever. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication in advertising, but it's really, really hard to do because too many people confuse simple with trivial. They are not the same thing. At MindField, we call it beer mat thinking. Can the idea be stripped right down to its very essence, that it can be written and understood on a beer mat? Because it beats the pretentious waffling or listing client features or products hands down every single time. It's about being strong enough and clear enough to understand that you have to sacrifice things to create impact. Stripping it all away until the only thing that's left is something that will actually hit a human being in the heart. People, those ordinary people I spoke about at the start, all they want is the truth, told simply in an interesting way. Because advertising that over-explains is insecure.
The new Anne Summers at Glasgow Fort. Opens Friday. Come quickly. Oi oi.
10 seconds of beer mat thinking. Next one. Strategy is knowing where to stick the knife. Hear a lot of talk about strategy. It's just a brief. Creative thinking doesn't start with the idea. It starts with the thinking before the thinking. A good brief tells you exactly where to stick the knife. If the strategy is sharp and distinctive, the ideas will be too. If the strategy is vague, safe and formulaic, guess what the ideas are going to be? So learn how to write a proper brief. It's honestly the most underappreciated, undervalued skill in all of advertising. If you can learn that and learn to do it really, really well, I promise you, you will set yourself apart from 99% of the people working in the advertising industry because they can't do it. This isn't a radio problem. This is an advertising problem. But if radio gets better at it, it can wipe the floor with the rest of it. The next one, being yourself in the snow. Does this sound familiar? We'll just do it like this for now, and then if this works, we'll do something like creative next time. What? Does it sound familiar? Because I get it all the time. And I call it pissing yourself in the snow. Taking the path of least resistance feels nice and warm and cosy and fuzzy for a few seconds, but pretty soon, when it doesn't work, you're cold, you're stinking a pee, and everybody's avoiding you. That's what happens when you do not take the creative path. It's not our job to sell a radio campaign to a client, even though we sometimes think it is. It's your job to sell the client's product to the public. So if a client ignores your advice and the public in turn ignore their adverts, they'll still blame you. So fight for what's right. You're the expert in the room. Act like it. There's a brilliant example of this from an old local car dealer in Glasgow that we worked with years ago.
Want a sneak peek of the new Honda CR-V Black Edition? Close your eyes. The Honda CR-V Black Edition. All the power of an SUV, all the clever thinking of a Honda, all in black. See it for yourself at Henry's Honda, Crossmaloof, Glasgow.
A radio advert that perfectly uses the medium to access people's imagination, allow them to imagine their idea of greatness, results in untold results for the client over the course of a weekend, but took fighting for to persuade them not to just simply tell people what was happening. The great type-it-in delusion. We're currently being told a very seductive lie. Digital platforms, tech giants, are trying to convince everyone that you can type a few brand values or product features into a box, hit generate, and out pops a campaign. Well done. Boom. Job done. Who knew advertising was that easy to crack? They want you to believe that advertising is genuinely that easy. That it's simply about being present, not persuasion. Do not mistake creativity for convenience. They are not the same thing. Or craft for a commodity that you can rent online for £20 a month subscription. AI is here, and it is an incredibly powerful and effective productivity tool. But AI looks at everything that's ever been done and gives you the most statistically likely next step, which is another way of saying the least creative next step. But AI does not kill creativity. Laziness does. How many people in this room, over the years, have I heard talk about, in the past, radio's power being in human connection? And how listeners say it feels like their best friend. And what we just saw earlier is the UK's most trusted medium. Don't you think that should apply to those precious minutes between the songs? The ability to connect with human beings? Because ultimately, those few minutes between the songs pay for it all. It's called commercial radio for a reason. So do not sacrifice effectiveness for efficiency, because you will pay for it in the long term. Next, number 6, be the wolf in a world of sheep. I see it all the time, you'll see it all the time as well, people, organisations declaring how creative and different they are. No, they're not. Most advertisers are not competing on creativity, they're competing on who can shout the loudest. But you do not win by being louder. You win by being worth listening to. And you're worth listening to when you're interesting. And when you're interesting, it's because you're saying something entertaining, challenging, or different from everyone else. So I urge you, destroy the conformity that these people fall into and use creativity to annihilate the algorithmic sameness and off-the-shelf thinking of your competitors. It's how David beats Goliath. You don't outshout them, you outthink them. Leave the sheep in the middle of the road and let a truck sort them out.
One day, 3 little pigs decided to each build a home. The first little pig built his home out of straw, the second built his out of sticks, and the third out of bricks. Now, due to the obvious lack of structural rigidity, the first 2 pigs didn't bother to get a building certificate. All was well until later that day a big wolf came along. He knocked on the first door and the straw walls collapsed. That's odd, thought the wolf. So he knocked on the second door and the sticks and planks of wood fell on his head. Dazed and injured, he staggered to the third house, made of bricks. Little pigs, let me in, he gasped. Not by the hair of our chinny chin chin. The wolf wasn't amused. Then I will huff, and I'll puff, and I'll call my solicitor. And he did. And the man from David W. Harris brought home the bacon. If you've been injured in the last 3 years, don't huff, don't puff. Call David W. Harris Solicitors. Great reputation, great representation.
Number 7, music gets you past the guard dogs. As I said, human beings, we've developed very, very sophisticated filters to block out advertising. We've all been marketed to since birth. It's even worse now. You know exactly when a sales pitch is coming. You can smell it a mile off. But sound and music work very differently because they're actually routed to your brain 20 to 100 times faster than sight. Now you know why in the Olympics they start races with a bang, not a flash. Because music doesn't knock politely on the rational part of your brain. It walks straight in through the back door into the emotional centre. It will sync with your body, it activates your memory, it connects moments in your life you didn't even know you remembered. People resist advertising, but they actively choose music. But here's the important bit. Music is not a shortcut to emotion, and it's not an idea in and of itself. It's borrowed meaning, and it carries cultural weight, which means when advertisers use it lazily, it's cultural vandalism. But when music is used with intelligence, creativity, and respect, it doesn't force attention, it earns it. Impact, communication, and persuasion. This is the holy trinity of effective advertising, creative. Now, impact is the first and foremost job of any advertising campaign. You need to get noticed and remembered, yet it's the most commonly ignored. But you cannot sell something to someone who's not listening to you. Number 2, communication. Say one thing well. And number 3, persuasion. Give the listener a reason to care. It's about the consumer's need, not what the client wants to say. So start by putting the listener first, and you immediately make better advertising. If your ad is missing any of these 3, it is not doing its job.
You mistake your friends' chat for your work chat. But it's just a sticker of your boss's face. But everyone loves it. Except your boss. That hasn't read it yet. Boss is typing. He lols. Private text, come to my office. He smiles through the glass door. He asks you to close the door. How'd you make those stickers? You open the app and he sees all your boss face stickers. They're hilarious. Send me every one of them. Everything will be okay. Holes. Just breathe through it.
The irony in misspelling communication is not lost on me. Number 9, mix with the best. Read shit, watch shit, listen to shit. Guess what? You'll think and produce shit. Now, if you aspire to be shit, ignore this one. If you don't, which I suspect is the case or you wouldn't be here, then surround yourself with the best people and learn from them. What comes out in the radio advertising that you're responsible for, no matter what your role is in it, is a direct result of what you put into your brain and who you collaborate with. Up your input game. Break from conformity and where you draw your inspiration and information, and I promise you will reap the rewards. Number 10, have a laugh. It's cheaper than therapy. Silliness in the workplace is not childish, it's creative oxygen. It's how things start to build. But somewhere along the way, we have forgotten that advertising should be fun. Recent research from Kantar and Ipsos proves that the use of humour in advertising has declined significantly over the past 2 decades, replaced by what they call more serious, often pretentious, purpose-led or sadvertising approaches. You know them. Yet Kantar data shows that 91% of consumers prefer brands to use humour, and 95% of brands are terrified of using it. Life is hard, work is chaos, creatives, clients, colleagues and consumers can all be emotional toddlers. If you can't have a laugh at it, I promise you it will eat you alive. So in conclusion, advertising interrupts people's lives. When it's done badly, it steals their time. When it's done well, it earns their attention. Now remember earlier on I mentioned the difference between music and advertising. When someone goes to see a band play, they've chosen to be there, they've paid to listen. Advertising does not get that luxury. We have to earn it. Do not sacrifice the effectiveness of that advertising for the efficiency and the way that you deliver it. And that's why creative standards really matter, and we're all responsible for them. Because the biggest threat to effective radio advertising is not budget, it's not digital, it's not AI, it's boredom. And boring listeners is a conscious choice. This applies to TV, digital, out of home. Every single medium you can think of is guilty of this. But I'm here to talk about radio. So if you care about radio, stop defending it and start demanding better from it. Demand better briefs, demand better ideas, demand better advertising that deserves the space it takes up inside someone's head who did not invite it to be there. Because if you do that, radio advertising won't just be tolerated, it might even get an invite to the party. And if there's a party, I'll be there. Cheers.